Window washers of Reddit, what is the most memorable thing you have seen while on the job? I worked for a private estate in the local polo club. I was under the impression that the owners were not home at the time, but I was wrong. I was washing windows this particular morning and I came around to the restroom window and got in a perfect view of this older couple in the shower together. The window looked out on a private fenced-in patio, so that's why it wasn't fogged glass. The window by the toilet is the same way. Bad design in my opinion. I've never moved faster in my life than I did catapulting myself backwards out of view of this naked couple. I don't believe they saw me because the next time we ran into each other, everything seemed normal from their end. Haha. A tornado. We'd had little warning before we saw it about 1 kilometer away. It didn't appear to be moving side to side much, which indicates that it's coming towards you. We winched down about 4 floors, jumped onto a fire escape and got inside the building. Rode out the storm inside and then went home. How would you feel about a law that requires people to take courses on parenting and education before getting children? You know how when you were in school, the only kids who showed up to study hall were the ones that didn't need the help? Think it might be one of those cases, dude? How would you enforce those laws? What happens to people who get pregnant despite not passing the parenting test? Would this law disproportionately affect women because it would be harder to detect fathers breaking it? Seems like it has a lot of problems and ultimately wouldn't really do any good if it was enforced in any way. When you are hanging out with someone who is really attractive, it's easy to see you aren't treated the same way. Our videographer for our wedding didn't post our video on his socials or website like he does with others. Reddit, how would you feel about NQuat, essential job NQuat, workers receiving hazard pay during the pandemic? I'm considered essential, and I work in a prison. I signed up for a hazardous job. The cashiers at the stores did not. Give them some hazard pay for having to get breathed on by hoarders for the last week or so. At the least give the medical workers some fucking compensation. My mom is 63 with heart disease and a nurse and she has to go into her work every day. My anxiety is high as fuck, but at least if she was receiving some compensation I know she would be okay financially. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and figure out this whole coronavirus thing is just a dream that only you have experienced. A really realistic dream. How would you react? Would you tell anyone? I'd be like Scrooge running around giving people hugs and turkeys or whatever. I'd honestly start crying with relief and go hug my boyfriend. God, I miss him so much. Tell anyone? Heck, I now have a plot for my best-selling novel. You wake up in an endless white room, confused and disoriented. Before you stands a 12-foot figure, heavily decorated. He looks powerful. NQuat, I am the god of questions, you must ask me a question that no one has ever asked out loud and I'll let you go NQuat, he says. What's your question? If I eat 6 kiwis, 2 remote-controlled cars, a box of orange Capri Suns and half a dozen pubes of a virgin ginger, will I get diarrhea or lactose intolerance? I just lost a bunch of brain cells to suicide. What is the ninety 3 decillion, 802 decillion, 256 nonillion, 111 octillion, 294 septillion, 846 sextillion, 272 quintillion, 688 quadrillion, 757 trillion, 321 billion, 920 million, 362,000, 873rd digit of pi. If 2020 is just a game and that the first 3 months are the beginner's level, what do you expect as the NQuat, final boss NQuat, in December? Yellowstone eruption, and the San Andreas fault big one. The internet stops working. Epic inflation as the cost of the downtime is solved by printing money. Everyday consumables will then rise in price, as there is more, newly printed, cash in people's hands, but at the same time the value of expensive items like cars/houses will go down as demand goes down. What is the best response when a guy asks you if you was looking at his girl? You mean our girl? Soviet anthem starts playing. Nah, I was looking at you. Serious, were you ever been sent to the principal's office for getting into trouble? What happened? My bully and his friends jumped me, and I was sick of them doing it. So I broke his nose. Badly. I basically tackled him to the ground, ignored his friends kicking me in the ribs, and did my best to make a pancake out of his face with my forehead. Then when the principal asked me if I'd learned my lesson, I said in quote, "Sure, I'm going to break his knee the next time they attack me. I'll keep breaking things on them until they stop attacking me. One of us will learn a lesson eventually." End quote. Initially didn't go over well until my parents walked in threatening to sue the school into the ground for punishing me for defending myself, especially because the principal was stupid enough to put it in writing that even if they attacked me without provocation, that didn't give me the right to hit back. Bitch of a principal got replaced, and my street cred in the school went from bullied kid to badass, which was a nice ego boost. Non-English speakers, what are some funny insults in your language translated into English? In Denmark we don't call people a pussy when they act cowardly. Instead we call them a vetpik, which translates into cotton dick. Butterfly on a horse's dick, which we use when someone ugly dates someone beautiful/handsome. Do you kick your pets out of the room when you masturbate? Why or why not? My cat just straight up stares at me like she's judging me, so now I kick her out. No, but the first time my cat shows up with a GoPro strapped to his head, he's banned. Reddit, how do you feel about banning ? Reddit, how do you feel about obviously good thing everyone will agree on ? Questions? I support it, they're just worthless karma grabs. It's low effort and mods should act appropriately. What are some signs that a person is insecure? Constant criticism of other people. They care too much about the opinions of others, or they constantly need attention. What's a good excuse to end phone calls now that "I gotta run" is no longer valid? My phone is dying, works every time, cool face. I have to count my toilet paper. What's the most hurtful thing you've heard someone say to you? The only thing unique about you is your name, interviewer. Why did you tell me that? I don't want to know that and don't care. Former best friend after I tried to talk to him about my depression.
People who actually got married on an if we're both still single when we're 35 we'll get married deal, what's your story? Two of my friends have one of this, I hope they realize they are made for each other before then too. A co-worker of mine up and left his girlfriend who was also working there, of 6 years to move from ACT to FL to go through with the pact he made with the other girl in high school. I honestly don't know how they're doing. The ex however lost a 185-pound stresser, so I'm glad she's doing exceptionally well. I did. But we got married 10 years earlier. We met at an Ink Master finale. We immediately connected. He lived in New York, Florida. I went back home and we kept in touch. Made a promise if by the time we were 35 we'd marry each other. I was 25 at the time. Things intensified so much we truly believed we were meant for each other. I moved to Illinois to take care of my sick grandma. 3 months after meeting he flew there to visit and we got married. After a few more visits he moved there too. 4 years later and we have 2 kids. People who are middle of the road in attractiveness, what signals tell you you're not ugly but not a model? People have been attracted to me before, so I can't be that bad. But not many people, so can't be that great either. People don't go out of their way to try and get with me, but they are shocked to learn that no one else has snatched me up yet . People aren't really attracted to me until they get to know me a bit. Serious, what is your I was that close to dying moment? What I remember, I'm 11 years old, playing outside, and it starts to rain. I wake up in the hospital 3 days later. What happened? Lightning struck the ground next to me. I was knocked unconscious, thrown into the air, my heart stopped, paramedics used CPR and a defibrillator to bring me back. I'm all grown up now with the only long-term effect being I have no memories of that summer before being struck. Which kind of sucks because that was the summer we went to Disneyland. The 5th of October 2019 I was rear-ended by a dump truck. In a coma for 42 days and now I can't walk. I'm immunosuppressed and breathing is compromised, so who knows what the future holds. Life is good people, so enjoy every day. A car almost drove me over intentionally when I was cycling. I sprinted out of there as fast as possible and to this day I have no idea why he did it. Reddit, how would you feel about essential job workers receiving hazard pay during the pandemic? I'm considered essential, and I work in a prison. I signed up for a hazardous job. The cashiers at the stores did not give them some hazard pay for having to get breathed on by hoarders for the last week or so. At the least give the medical workers some fucking compensation. My mom is 63 with heart disease and a nurse, and she has to go into her work every day. My anxiety is high as fuck, but at least if she was receiving some compensation I know she would be okay financially. Your boss has tasked you with convincing the government that you are an essential business and must remain open. Your company only sells dildos. What's your pitch? In times of social distancing, for those living alone or separated from loved ones, some needs go unmet. There's a hole in people's lives. We can fill that hole. Not only are our products completely washable with just soap and water, which is the recommended method to help prevent the spread of the virus, but they would also encourage people to stay home instead of seeking companionship in person, through a dating app, or at a bar. For those socially responsible separated from their partners, our products help keep the spark alive while on the phone or video call, which can help retain normalcy through, and recover it after, the current situation is resolved or contained. It would be socially and morally irresponsible to close during a time of need such as this. According to NYC, masturbation is recommended over sex right now. It will help prevent mass hysteria. On April 1st everyone gets a text on their phone saying April Fools. Sorry about the beginning of the year, let's retry that, and we get sent back to January 1st 2020. What's the first thing humanity should do? People that don't have phones are gonna go crazy. Produce a lot of disinfectant. Everything's just going to happen again, but with better memes. Reply back, and